Wow, that was the royal wedding. Catherine and William got married on April 29th, 2011 in Westminster Abbey in London, and it was the wedding of the century. Everyone watched it, or at least known about it. So today I'm gonna go back to this event and tell you a bit about this very historic day. Hi, my name is Anna and welcome to On Royals, where I talk everything royal related. If you want to support my channel, please do so by liking this video, commenting down in the comment section below, because every support you give me is absolutely priceless and I really appreciate it. So thanks. I think this might be the most important royal wedding in this century. Even though we are 24 years in the century, still I think nothing beaten that wedding. Prince William of United Kingdom and Catherine Middleton, an ordinary girl. That was an amazing story and still is up until today. Everyone remembered the red uniform William was in and the stunning dress of Catherine's with a long train, and they just looked perfect together. But we also recall hideous outfits sometimes of the wedding guests, as Princess Eugenie and Beatrice. They got the hats that went viral and were a meme for a significant years after. The basics. The wedding of Prince William and Catherine Middleton took place on April 29th, 2011 in London at Westminster Abbey, very centre of London, right next to the building of the Parliament, Big Ben, and not so far away from Buckingham Palace. It was a cloudy Friday and everyone was so happy that it wasn't raining that day. And it wasn't only a day off for William and Catherine, but also for most Brits. At the moment of their wedding, William was 28. He was going to be 29 in 2 months, and Catherine was 29. She had birthday in January that year, so they just made it before 30 years old. While Catherine is not the first commoner to join British royal family, her marriage to the future king and now Prince of Wales, it is kind of unusual. Unlike, for example, Diana, Kate's family did not have noble titles, and Kate herself led a fairly normal life before the marriage. So, what was the relationship like before the wedding? William and Catherine met at St. Andrews University in 2001, where they both studied at that time. And at the beginning, they were friends. They even lived in one house together with other friends. And do you remember this famous fashion show from The Crown where Kate was in a see-through dress? That was the turning point of the relationship. And since then, or not exactly since then, but after that moment, they got together and they were together until the end of their studies in 2005. The relationship was somehow secret in the sense that media did not have any photo of them together up until 2004, when they were photographed together in Switzerland, a ski trip in Cloisters. So since then, public knows about the relationship. So 2005, the graduation, and later in 2007, they split up. They broke their relationship. Kate was at the time living in London, having her best life, clubbing with her sister Pippa, going to work, things like this. William was doing a military training, and basically, they weren't together for, it's difficult to say how long, but let's say a year. And in 2008, when William was graduating from his military training, she was there with him. So from then onwards, they were back together. So about the engagement. The engagement took place in October 2010, and we know a bit about this because William and Kate themselves talked about it in the interview. The engagement interview I'm going to talk about in a second. So it was a private thing. They were on holidays with their friends in Kenya, and William was having the a beautiful ring all the time in his backpack. He was very protective of the backpack, although he called it a rucksack. So he was very protective of his rucksack during the trip. And then when a beautiful moment came, he proposed and Kate said yes. Very happy time for them. And after they were back in November, exactly was 16th of November 2010, Clarence House, the press office of Prince of Wales, issued a statement about the engagement, and a press conference was organized, as well as a photo shoot or a photo call and an interview at St. James's Palace. I'm pretty sure you watched the interview online. It's very cool and very warm, and you can see love, and this seems kind of natural, and this is actually the first time we see them together speaking about their relationship, so it's great. The ring that Kate got from William is, of course, the ring that Princess Diana chose for herself for her engagement 30 years prior to William and Kate's engagement, and it's a big sapphire with diamonds around it. Since after the engagement, a lot of jewelry companies and even just cheap jewelry producers, they produce a lot of replicas or rings inspired by this very ring, and it got super popular. A lot of girls around the world, they wanted to be engaged with this ring, or they just want to have it on their very finger. So it got super popular, and it also brought back the popularity for colored stones in engagement rings. But not only the ring got very popular after the engagement, because it was also the dress. The sapphire silk dress with a draped top, long sleeves, and slightly flared bottom. It immediately became something everyone wanted to have. It was just under £400 and was produced by a London-based designer, Issa London. Overnight, Issa London became the it brand, the brand that really everyone wanted to dress at, and everyone wanted to have a replica of the dress or the dress itself. And also it became the most popular, or the it brand of 2011, and Princess Eugenie and Beatrice, as well as the actress Keira Knightley, had pieces from Issa London. Unfortunately, the success of Issa London was also the cause for its troubles, and the brand got sold. And also the dress started something that we call nowadays Kate effect. A lot of girls around the world, they wanted to look like or similar to Kate. They were inspired by her style. They're called replicates. So if you are one of them, let me know in the comments below. The wedding itself wasn't as traditional as weddings in the royal family in the previous generations. They were allowed to invite who they want, at least to some extent, and there were no official representations from each states or countries, so it was a bit less political, a bit less of a state occasion and more private occasion. Other changes they made, because it is said that William and Kate, they did a lot of things as they wanted to, as they weren't obliged to do it so traditionally, since William was not the king and even not a Prince of Wales at the time. So they had maids of honor and the groom's best men, which is not exactly a tradition. And of course, Philippa Middleton was Kate's maid of honor, and apparently Harry was the best man, although of course in Spur he's kind of hesitant if he was the best man or not. He wrote a bit about frozen parts of his body at the wedding as well, but nevertheless they were there next to the altar and helping their siblings to get married and to look great. So I would say they were both very involved, but this is not or was not in the royal tradition back then. So this was something new. The other thing that was new was the fact that Kate has not stayed at any palaces or royal residences before the wedding, but she was in Hotel Goring, next to the Buckingham Palace with her family, and to reach the church, or to reach the Westminster Abbey, she actually took a car. It was a royal car, but it was a car, it wasn't a carriage. So that was something new. And of course, the decor of the Westminster Abbey was also something very untraditional, to put real trees actually inside of this beautiful church. It was something super new, but it was great. And apparently it showed how William and Kate love countryside. The big mystery was the dress. And of course, the dress is always a big thing for any bride, and everyone is wondering what will the bride wear. And in this case, wasn't any different. So there was a lot of names on the table before the wedding day. People were thinking, oh, is it going to be Victoria Beckham or the Emanuels who designed the dress for Princess Diana, or who can actually design the royal dress? Because when designing the dress for the royal wedding, there are a lot of things to take into consideration. The dress will be a historical dress and it will be remembered forever. It has to fit really well, because if it doesn't, as Meghan Markle's one, there are going to be a lot of comments about it. There are expectations from the family, from the crowd, from the media, and the dress will also be kind of a trendsetter for any wedding dresses in the coming years. So yeah, you better be very, 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 very good at designing dresses when you think about designing a royal dress. And of course, it also has to be according to what the bride wants. And Kate found someone who created this beautiful cooperation with her, and was Sarah Burton from the Alexander McQueen brand. And they designed 2 wedding dresses together. One was actually used in the Abbey and the other was used for the evening reception. The one from the Abbey had very complicated structure, but we definitely remember the lace top, lace sleeves, less neckline. Then we have a bit of, and actually this part was inspired by 2 royal dresses that were very significant, Queen Elizabeth II dress and Grace Kelly's dress, so the Princess of Monaco dress. The dress also had a lot of lace appliques, and the train itself was 270 centimeters long. It wasn't too bold, it wasn't too big for the Abbey, and it wasn't too small, so it was just the right size. The dress that Kate wore later on, it was also like light ivory, but it was more sateen, more modest, more modern, although classical without any lace applications, just a simple dress. About the guests, so William and Kate invited 1,900 guests to the Westminster Abbey, and there were both representatives of foreign royal families, family and friends, and also representatives of charities that worked with William before. Then 600 guests were invited to luncheon at Buckingham Palace hosted by the Queen after the ceremony, and 300 guests were invited for the evening party, which was hosted by Prince Charles. The night before the wedding, there was a little party or a banquet hosted in Mandarin Oriental Hyde Park. It was organized by Lady Elizabeth Sharkley, cousin of the Queen Elizabeth II, and members of royal family and members of foreign royal families were in attendance. We know that William had some kind of bachelor party, but it was a few weeks or days before the wedding. It was a private thing in Norfolk, and the same goes to Catherine. So she also had a bachelorette party with her friends. Apparently they were singing karaoke, and especially Kate sang a song by Cherry Cole, and she was even dressed like her. This is what we've heard from Cheryl Cole herself as well. So they had good time, but this is very private. We have no photos from that occasion. But actually, the night before wedding, William did a big surprise, and apparently, this surprise, this is what Prince Harry says, it was rum and coke helped in this surprise. It was a surprise to the crowds gathering outside of Clarence's house, waiting for the big day the next day. So Harry and William went to the crowd, said their greetings, shook some hands, and things like this. So they were there with the crowds the night before the wedding. I think it's very, very cute and sweet, although Harry says that William was quite drunk the night before his wedding and he wasn't sleeping that much and he had very red eyes in the morning. At least this is what we can read in Spare. Catherine, so the night before or the afternoon before the wedding, she arrived to Goring Hotel with her family. They've spent some time there together, and as I said, that was a bit of a break with royal tradition. The day. At 6 a.m., the roads that were part of the celebrations were closed, and around 8, guests started to arrive at the Westminster Abbey. The beginning of the wedding was scheduled at 11. So before that, William got ready in Clarence's house together with Harry, and he got his wedding outfit in. It was a red uniform of Irish Guards. 10:10. That's the moment when William and Harry left Clarence's house. They went through the Mall, Horse Guards Parade, Whitehall, up to Westminster Abbey, and they've stayed in the Abbey for the next around 40 minutes, waiting, of course, for the guests to arrive. And they were arriving, members of the foreign royal families, members of the royal family, the Middletons, Prince Charles, and at that time Duchess Camilla, and finally at 10:48 Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. In the morning also it was announced that after the wedding William will have the title of Duke of Cambridge, and Catherine will be styled HRH, Duchess of Cambridge. What about Kate? Because we haven't really spoke about her appearance yet. So she was getting ready at the hotel with her family and probably some friends as well. And she did her own makeup. She took some makeup lessons before the wedding and she did her own makeup. Now people question her decision because for many the makeup hasn't aged well enough and it's a bit so-so, but she looked great. And what also looked great on her hair was the tiara that was lent to her by Elizabeth II. It was Cartier Halo tiara. The earrings that Kate had were custom made and ordered by her parents, the Middletons, and it was a present for their daughter. 10:52 was the time when Catherine left the hotel with her father and started the journey to the Westminster Abbey. When she arrived to the Westminster Abbey, then actually media got the notification about who designed the dress. The ceremony was very beautiful, and the beginning, I think, was the most interesting because she walked down the aisle for 4 minutes. The aisle is 47 meters long. Harry and William were waiting there for her. It was a beautiful moment when they finally met. And the vows. I think the vows were very moving part. Of course, Catherine has not promised to obey, which is a bit very, very old-fashioned, by the exchange of vows. And the ring. So not all grooms royal grooms wear rings. It's very unusual, actually. So William doesn't have a wedding ring, but Kate does. And the royal ring, traditionally, is produced from a Welsh gold that is within a royal family. And Catherine's ring is also, or wedding band, is also made from this Welsh gold. After the ceremony, they signed a register in the back of Westminster Abbey, and then on the way back outside Westminster Abbey, there was a beautiful moment when Catherine, as a member of royal family, bowed to Queen Elizabeth II, and they smiled, and yeah, it was all very, very cute. Then, of course, the newlyweds walked down the aisle or up the aisle together. Greetings were sent to the invites and the guests, and they were outside. They boarded the state landau from beginning of the 20th century. It was produced in 1902. So quite a long time ago, and they went to the Buckingham Palace. Once they arrived at the Buckingham Palace, family pictures were made, and then at 1:35 they went to the balcony finally, because everyone was waiting for the balcony moment, and they kissed twice. So what a beautiful moment it was. And also the royal family could watch a Royal Air Force air show, which was an also great addition. Soon after, the luncheon hosted by Queen Elizabeth II began, and they ate salmon and veal and honey ice cream. So a lot of amazing things, but they also had the big wedding cake. The wedding cake was almost a meter tall and 100 kilograms in weight. It was designed and executed by Fiona Kenny's workshop. At 3:35, a couple boarded blue Aston Martin. This Aston Martin was lent to them by Prince Charles, who got this for his 21st birthday from the Queen. And off they went to Clarence's house. William was driving, and he was actually in his black uniform from Blues and Royals. In the evening, there was a big party in the palace hosted by Prince Charles. So they went back to the Buckingham Palace. And during this party, Ellie Goulding was singing, and the couple danced their first dance to Your Song by Elton John, a beautiful one. And we don't know what happened next on the party, but I assume it was a pretty good party. About the honeymoon, it hasn't commenced immediately because William was about to go back to his duties and work. He was a helicopter pilot at the time, but they went for 10 days on a private island in Seychelles in May. And a fun fact, the couple, they haven't really asked for any wedding gifts, wedding presents. They asked for charity donations. So the wedding was watched by around 2 billion people around the world. It is actually very difficult to say how many people watched it, because it was the first time when the wedding was not only streamed in the national TVs or any TVs or radios, but it was also streamed on the internet, for example, on YouTube. So it was a first very big royal event streamed on YouTube, and hence it is very difficult to count how many people watched it, but it was definitely a super popular event at that time. And I'm actually wondering, have you had a chance to watch it back then in 2011? I was in high school back then, so I remember I wasn't able to watch it live, and it wasn't a free date for me as well. But I watched it back home because I had it recorded. So yeah, it was beautiful, beautiful ceremony, and everyone talked about it at the time. I'm very curious if you have any memories with William and Kate's wedding. Maybe you watched it at school, maybe you watched it at work. I don't know. Let me know. Let me know in the comments below. I'm very, very curious. Thank you for today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And yeah, let's stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't yet.